Sexi Mexi and Italian Ice. Passions and fashion, both naughty and nice. So stick around, the sparks, they will fly. You'll love them so much, you won't say goodbye. They'll put their heart into every show. Great guests, no rest. A pair on the go, so come on down every Tuesday at 7. Besame mucho and podcast heaven.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Sexi Mexi bringing you another episode of a Sexi Mexi and Italian Ice and Everything Nice. Mr. Benny Scala, how are you this evening?
Well, if you're Sexi Mexi, I guess by default, I must be Italian Ice. Hi everybody.
Hello. First, before we start the show, I wanted to give a big shout out to your dad. Happy heavenly birthday, Joe.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I
Yeah, my
love
dad would have been 102 years old yesterday. Thank you for remembering.
Cheers.
And
Cheers
my dad died on his 63rd birthday, believe it or not.
Wow.
How many people die on their birthday?
Wow, that's uncommon. But
yeah, it's hard to believe. It's 39 years here. Dad in heaven.
Yes, dad is in heaven.
And same name as your son, Joseph.
Yes, and my dad.
Yep. Good name.
Yes.
Oh, that one tasted good.
Yes, it did.
I'm going to have to keep it closer. Here we go. All right.
That's what I have mine. I have mine closer. But tonight we're going to bring you the episode of the suspicious death, life, career of the handsome half-breed, Gino Hernandez.
Yeah, one of the all-time greats. I mean, it could have been one of the all-time greats,
Yes.
but even in his short career, he accomplished a lot.
He sure did. He started training, from my understanding, at the age of 17. And when he saw his stepdad wrestling, Luis Hernandez, he wanted to be a wrestler, and that's where he adapted the last name Hernandez, after his dad.
His dad, I remember when I first started watching wrestling in the late 60s, and I would buy the magazines. You know, growing up in New York, you only saw at that time guys who wrestled in New York. And but the guy was a big star. Luis Hernandez, big star in Texas. And now he died. I didn't realize this until I did some research for the show. He died of a heart attack while wrestling in Japan. And he was only 37 years old.
Yeah, he was very, very young. And when I saw that, you know, it's like a lot of wrestlers died back then for a lot of heart attacks or anything like that, or being hit wrong. You never know what'll happen back then. And now,
what's his name? Ted DiBiase's dad, Mike DiBiase, Iron Mike. He died right in the middle of the ring, and he was in his 40s. Yeah.
Wow. It doesn't take an accident anymore these days. Anything can happen.
No.
And I noticed that your show earlier you had today, you were talking about a lot of these wrestlers now getting injured again. It's
well,
like
that's because they're not wrestlers anymore. They're acrobats. I mean,
they're actors. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
This
don't know
is
what
like
it's like
Cirque du Soleil. It's ridiculous.
Right? Yeah, it is. And I was wanting to do this show because last Saturday it would have been his 69th birthday.
You know, he was to me, he's one of those comets that streak through the sky, and you look up, and it's like bright, and it's brilliant, and it's beautiful, and before you know it, it's all gone, and you don't see it again. I think that really describes him, because for the time he was in the wrestling world, I mean, he really took it by storm.
Oh, absolutely. I was 4 years old being brought to wrestling matches back in Odessa, Texas. My dad would take me every other Tuesday, and it was Southwest Championship Wrestling back then, run by Joe Blanchard.
Yes.
And when I first saw him, I'm like, who is that? Now,
how old would you have been then, Amelia?
I would have been, I think, 8 years old. Yeah, having a crush, 8 years old.
1979-ish, right? Yeah. Gino actually wrestled his first match before he even turned 18, which is incredible.
Wow.
And then in January 1977, so he would have been like 19 in a few months. He won the U.S. Championship in Detroit. Now, back, you know, for the people that are watching, well, I think most of the people that are watching are probably a little bit older and know about the territories. But, you know, back in the day, they had all these different territories, and some of them were a lot more, I guess, prestigious than others. And the territory in Detroit was very, very prestigious. And it was owned by a gentleman by the name of Ed Farhat. But everybody knows him as the Sheik, not the Iron Sheik, the original Sheik.
The Sheik,
and, Gino, he actually dropped the title to the Sheik I think it was in March or June, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, a 19-year-old kid wrestling at Cobo Hall, which was a gigantic arena, you know, against one of the biggest names in the sport of that time. I mean, the guy really, I mean, he made it, and he was only in the business then less than 2 years. I mean,
2 years. And you wouldn't hear it back then. Now, well, when I remember growing up a little bit older, I was like 11 and 12 years old. They had to wait till they were 21 at that time, a few years later, to become a wrestler. Because I don't know what, I guess it was too immature that they were trying to train the wrestlers to come in and they wouldn't last. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? That makes sense, because that's when I first saw Shawn Michaels come in. He just turned 21.
I mean, I want to give a quick shout out to Jason, our buddy, is in the chat room, and then King Dave, the King of Rabbit Island, and me,
Mr. Dave,
Boston
King Dave.
Batgirl, Brittany Brown,
Brittany.
my partners on Monday night, are both in the chat room. So
Awesome. It's good to see you guys.
Yep.
I would love to do a show with you guys eventually on true crime. That's one of my favorites.
Well, this is almost a true crime episode, because we don't really know. I mean, we we were told how the guy died, but I don't think either one of us agree with his cause.
I don't
That's very,
agree.
very controversial.
They say it's one way, but there's always, you know how there's always a fork in the road, basically. There's this way, or you can think of it this way. So,
you know, if I could, I want to get this one story out of the way. We talked about it
before. Go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
So I had spoken to, I'm pretty good friends with Johnny Rods. That's the gentleman who I'm helping to write his book. And then another gentleman named Davey O'Hannon, who I've interviewed on several different shows. And they both told me about Gino. He wrestled Johnny Rods at Madison Square Garden on March 7th, 1977. Again, he's a 19 and a half year old kid. And at the time, he held the U.S. belt. And he came in the room, the locker room, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Hernandez. I'm the U.S. champion."
Ooh.
And like 10 feet away was Bruno Sammartino, who was like God, you know, like, and Bruno said, "Yeah, my name is Sammartino. They tell me I'm some kind of champion as well." And, I mean, I give him a lot of credit. He managed to piss off an entire locker room in a matter of like 5 minutes. And Johnny Rods was his opponent. And Vince McMahon Sr. told Johnny Rods, "Well, you need to put him over, you know, meaning, you know, make Gino win." And Johnny said, "Well, I'll put him over, but I'm going to beat the shit out of him in the process."
First.
I saw the match. Gino probably felt like he got hit by a train the next day. But, you know, I really think I want to cut him a break. I mean, at 19, you know, we're all dumbasses at 19.
Yeah.
You know, but he never came back to the WWF, which, you know, is a shame, because I think and we'll talk about his story. I think if he had led his life a little bit differently, I think he might have made a name in the company in the mid 80s.
Oh, absolutely. Because back then it's like he carried everything on his shoulder. Hey, I'm this and I'm that. He was trying to be the heel all the time. And he's like, you know, you can relax here. You're around a round of people that are your, you know, peers, basically. So just act like one of us. Don't be acting like you're all of that and everybody else is like this tall, you know?
Right.
And like you said, at 19 years old, we're all thinking all different things. A lot of us were wanting to go to college or join the military back then when I was growing up. That's pretty much everything.
Well, you already won like a major championship. You wrestled in the main event at Cobo Arena, which back in the day in Detroit was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure he was getting paid very well. So now you're 19. Not only are you're becoming very famous, but you have more money than you can spend.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I mean, so it's kind of hard to keep yourself balanced when you get that much too quick. I mean, Babe Ruth, a little bit before your time. So Babe Ruth, you know who he is, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Babe Ruth actually came out of an orphanage in Baltimore. He wasn't really he wasn't adopted. He was sent there by his parents because he was so bad. And,
wow.
But see, and that's where he got discovered. It was first by the Boston Red Sox, and then they traded him to the Yankees. But Babe Ruth, once he got into the real world, which he had never really experienced, now he's making more money than the president of the United States. Wow. I mean, he's like a little kid in a candy store, and he couldn't handle it. He just, women, food. I mean, he just he had it all, and he got too much too soon. I think Gino's very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah, just all of a sudden now you're 19 and you have fame, fortune, women. I'm sure there were plenty of rats throwing themselves at Gino.
Absolutely.
Good-looking kid. He probably had him at every single arena. So
yeah, everybody. It's like he was loved that he was hated. Basically, you go there just because you love to hate him and throw stuff at him. And when I was a kid, I remember these people would buy the baby bottles. There's the plastic baby bottles back then. And I don't know if they filled them with water or something, but they would throw them at him. I'm like, y'all leave him alone. Quit throwing stuff at my man. I was like so little. It was so funny.
And Brittany and Dave can attest to it. People took wrestling. I mean, now it's a joke. I mean, now people go there. They know it's a night of entertainment. That's why there's an E in WWE. But back in those days, I talked to Larry Zbyszko a couple of nights ago.
Oh, that was a great interview.
Thank you. He literally, he was in Albany, New York. This is right after he turned on Bruno. And he was walking back to the dressing room. And he said he felt like somebody kicked him in the ass. And then when he got back to the dressing room, somebody said, you have a metal thing protrude. It was somebody had stabbed him in the ass. And it was the knife, the actual blade of the knife had broken off. And it was lodged in Larry's ass. So he pulled it out. And then he had to go to the hospital, of course, to get a tetanus shot because you don't know it could have been rusty or whatever. But
could have been. But I love his story about him going to Japan and all these ladies were rubbing his chest because they've never seen hair on a man and all that. That was pretty cool. And I remember Gino never had any hair, so he would have just been one of the ones that was popular.
I would have been a rock star. But but it just shows like if you can incite somebody enough where they want to do physical harm to you.
Yes.
Then you are doing a damn good job.
Yep.
And Gino was very good at his job.
Yeah. Yeah. His mom was Patrice Aguirre. She is Italian, and I remember her being a model back in the day. So she was a single mom raising Gino, of course, and his sister. And she did everything she could to raise him upright. And then, of course, she met Mr. Hernandez, got married and everything, and that's her stepfather, Luis Hernandez. That's where Gino adopted him, and he really loved him as a father. But then, as you said, he passed away.
Yeah, Gino would have been 14, I believe, when he passed away.
Yeah, and that was pretty sad. They said he took it hard, so he got more into wrestling because he wanted to be just like his dad.
Right. He definitely surpassed his dad. I want to say, give a quick shout out to our good buddy Lawrence. Now, he's come all the way from Australia, the land down under.
Wow.
Yep.
Good to talk to you guys.
Yes.
And when I found out that a lot of the story from there, they have this show called Dark Side of the Ring. I did not believe a lot of that because a lot of it was speculation or they didn't have a lot of facts. I remember seeing the show you did this morning where Joe Lowry had said that he had interviewed Nicola Roberts, which is Baby Doll, and she disproved a lot of the things that they said, and believing that what happened to Gino wasn't just suicide. And a lot of what that show did is like, no. We're going to tell the truth here because, or at least we wanted to tell the truth because there was a lot of speculation that Paul Bosch was his father, and we determined that it wasn't because the mom, of course, said, nope, this is Charles Wolfe Sr. And that was Gino's original name. But he wanted Hernandez to be like his dad, Luis Hernandez. And so that's where that came from. And then it was gorgeous Gino Hernandez. And then it was the handsome half-breed. And then as he got older, he's like, okay, I'm developing this persona. Now, with him getting to be a big, big star, Southwest Championship Wrestling took him in. And he teamed up with this horrible, horrible person named Tully Blanchard.
Oh, wait, let me find him.
Which I cannot stand that man, for one. Is because every match that I watched,
hang on, there he is.
Pretty much carried Tully in every match, and that's how they won the Southwest Championship Tag Team Championship belts. And I watched that match several times, because thank goodness for YouTube, because you can go back and watch these matches. If people don't know what wrestling was like or should be like, please watch all these older matches from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You'll really know what wrestling is like.
Well, it was the show we do on Wednesday when it was real. I mean, it was when we went to the arena, we went to see people fight.
Exactly.
And we lived and died on what happened in the ring. Now it's like, people are taking selfies. They're posting on YouTube. It's a night out, a very expensive night out. That's the other
very
thing.
Expensive.
I think SummerSlam, I think the like a decent ticket was about $500. And I will tell you that, any card on Madison Square Garden Madison Square Garden was probably the equivalent of SummerSlam, and you could pay $4 back in the day.
Oh yeah, general admission was $3 where I lived at, or $7 for the little bit lower seats, and then $10 for ringside. No matter where you sat at ringside, $10.
Well, I got to reach out to Brittany and Dave again because, like,
hi Brittany, hi Dave again.
Everything I've heard about Tully Blanchard is that he played a douchebag in the ring, and outside of the ring, he was a douchebag.
He was worse.
And I think he still is a douchebag.
He is.
And I had Tito Santana on Dan and Benny in the Ring for our 200th episode. And he said that Tully was a douchebag. So I don't know. If Brittany and Dave, they're like family to me. If they tell me something, I am 100% going to believe
absolutely.
it. So if they say that Tully was not a douchebag, I will apologize right here and now.
Oh, I saw a lot of the stuff that he did and the way he acted, because I saw a lot of that firsthand at Southwest Championship Wrestling. But there was a lot of the ladies that I got to be friends with that knew Tully, and Tully was always getting into a mess. If it was not being the person that got into the car wreck and it was his fault.
There you go.
Or see if Gino, Gino. If Tully got in trouble with the girl, Daddy was always bailing him out there. And honestly, I believe that Gino was the one that should have been one of the 4 horsemen, but Daddy Joe paid them to have Tully as the 4th horseman.
Well, I think by the time the 4 horsemen started, by then I think Gino was so heavy into the drugs. I think had it not been for that, I think he would have been a shoo-in. And that's only if Vince McMahon hadn't snapped him up. Again, because I think Vince McMahon was very careful for the most part over who because he had
a brand.
Yeah, he was rating like he rated Mid-South. He got Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The AWA, he got like everybody, Mean Gene Heenan, Hulk, Dr. D. David Schultz, Jesse Ventura, you name it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he would have, eventually he got Kerry Von Erich. But I think Gino would have been like, again, had he was, had he kept himself straight, I think he would have been a huge star.
Oh, absolutely. And I saw this one time. People will say, oh no, he's just a bad guy, in and outside the ring. But I remember, sorry about that. That's my dog out there. Whenever he was a baby face against Tully at Southwest Championship Wrestling, he came out to the ring wearing a beautiful royal blue jacket. I remember this, with the parrot on the back of it. And he had a blue bandana, same as the jacket. And there was this cute little lady in a wheelchair in the front row of the ringside. And he just took that off, put it on her head, and gave her the biggest kiss and gave her the biggest hug. So see, that tells you right there, what a good person he is. And he had a good heart. So he loved his fans. And even when he turned, he was still loyal to his fans. And I apologize again, my dog's barking. And, but he loved being the heel because the heel gives you more money.
Right.
It brings more money.
Well, and I'm going to go back to Brittany and Dave one more time because Brittany and Dave were both career heels. They were trained by Walter Killer Kowalski, who was to me on the Mount Rushmore of great heels. Right. And Brittany told a story that, she was a career heel, nicest lady in the entire world, but always played a heel. And I guess one time Walter told her that to go out and be a baby face, and she hated it. And she, most wrestlers will tell you that they prefer to be a heel. It's a little bit easier. It's a lot easier to get somebody to hate you than it is to like you.
Brittany, what was the difference between the baby face and the heel back then? Why did you prefer more to be a heel, if you don't mind me asking that question? Because I know a lot of lady wrestlers wanted to be the baby face, back then.
And if you watch, some of Brittany's old matches are on YouTube. Yeah, definitely check them out because Brittany Brown, and she knew what she was doing.
And Dangerous Dave, don't forget his.
I'm saying, absolutely. I've seen a couple of Dave's matches on YouTube as well. Yeah, Dave was a heel. Dave was the IWF, which is the International Wrestling Federation, which was Walter Kowalski's promotion. He was their junior heavyweight champion, and he's also in their Hall of Fame. And Brittany's in their Hall of Fame, as well as the New England Hall of Fame and the Cauliflower Alley Hall of Fame. So,
yes, absolutely.
We're talking about very accomplished people here. So whatever they say, you guys, you got to listen.
Yes, exactly. Listen. You better listen really, really well.
But you know, Amelia, real quick, I didn't mean to be Angelo on you. I want to say his name. After a couple of sips of wine,
you're better than Angelo.
Wait, hang on. There we go. All right. So Gino held at least one title from 1977 until his death in 1986. According to WrestlingData.com, which I use for all my stories, he held 28 championships in 10 years.
10 years.
Including the Texas. Now, the Texas, again, we're going to go back to the territories. That several of the NWA territories, their titles are very prestigious. Like the Missouri Heavyweight Championship was very prestigious. But the Texas one was fairly close, and Gino had won that 5 times. Beat David Von Erich, who he hadn't passed away.
And I think we have a picture of that as well.
Yeah,
him with that title, and I think, and I don't remember ever Gino not having a title all the time that I saw him. No matter where, he always had something. Yeah,
and I think the next to last time he won the Texas title, he won it over some guy named Ric Flair. You might have heard of him.
Yes. Oh yeah, we all here in Florida have heard of Mr. Ric Flair.
But I mean, like, you're talking about a guy, you talk about like the proverbial rocket strapped to your ass and headed towards the moon. They were, every promoter was smart because they knew that, they needed to put a title on Gino because the guy put fannies in the seats.
Oh, he did. And it might have been a lot of women, but also the husband and wife would come and then they'd like to saying, "You're ugly, quit or stop," or, quit being me. We could interact with them and he'd interact back. And I think that's what made the wrestling matches was everybody just interacted with each other.
Well, let me ask you a question, Amelia. Like, were you old enough? Because, one of the things I dearly miss about the old days is they call them the gimmick matches.
Yes.
Like the loser leaves town. Or the loser has to give up their valet to the winner.
Yes.
And my favorite was the hair versus hair match.
The hair match, yes.
How many did you ever see Gino lose his hair? I know he lost it more than once.
Yeah. Yeah, this one with the Von Erichs, though, was the most famous one. It was the most televised one. I think it made history for television. And it was so weird. I was like, okay, this is going to be so weird. I don't want to see him lose his hair, but I guess he's going to have to. And he escaped he tried to escape, but Chris Von Erich tackled him in the middle of the ring and got him to stay still for them to get the rest of his hair off.
And he actually, so what did he just, I'm sure it grew back pretty quick.
Oh yeah. He was bald for a long time. And then after a while, him and Chris Adams decided to wear masks in the ring. So when they would tag in and the referee wasn't looking, the other one would come in.
Of course.
And then the fans were like, "Hey, that's not him. That's not him." How we interacted. And the referee is like looking at him. He's like, "No, that's me. That's me," like that.
So was that because to conceal the fact that they had no hair, or was
correct?
Plus
it was a gimmick too.
Then they could do shenanigans too.
Yeah, it was shenanigans and gimmick and everything like that. And of course, he still had his gold scissors in his trunk somewhere. So he's still cutting people's hair off. He ended up doing that. I don't know why.
Well, tell everybody about that because I had heard about that. What was that? What happened with that?
I don't know how these guys put that in their trunks or other without being.
That might be nasty if you take a bad bump.
Exactly. So he would get these gold scissors. I swear to you, they were like that long, and that's not even including the part that you hold. And they were solid gold scissors. And anytime he had a chance, he would get he would love to wrestle guys with long hair because he'd cut their hair as much as he could, at least like that much or more off of one strand, which of course made the other guy have to get a haircut because it looked bad. And he did that with every match. And I think that's when the Von Erichs had enough. That's why the hair match had happened. Because they're like, okay, you want to do this? Then let's do the hair match.
There you go. That's from Brittany. Yeah. Tessa. The apple definitely didn't fall far from the tree with her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, very talented wrestler, but she has alienated so many people. The
She
WWE
has, yeah.
they won't touch her.
No, it's like, should we hire her or not? And they're like, well, no, wait a minute. She probably has that temper that we don't want anybody to know about, or to advertise. But yeah, he was just so different. And I think from Southwest Championship Wrestling to world class. But I think he learned a little bit on the line what he could get more away with at WCCW than he could at Southwest. But then, of course, he was already an older person now. And eventually with his career, I don't know how it happened. The speculation on how he got involved with some real bad people. And that's where his life took a way big turn for the worse.
You're talking about Gino, right?
Yes, Gino.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
his career was great, but then
once you got at the WCCW and you're like wrestling in Dallas with the Von Erichs, I mean, the gates had to be massive. And Gino was always in the main event. You're talking a young guy, and I'm assuming they got paid cash.
Oh yeah,
and you got like cash. In the early '80s, if you had $2 or $3 grand in your pocket, it was a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely. The only thing is with that ring that they had at the Sportatorium was built on top of this big old cement square. So when you took a bump and you felt it. And those mats were not really that thick. So that was pretty hurtful. And a lot of the time they were scared for the fans to come in because all that was held up was a bunch of just rope on on the ringside.
Yeah, thanks, Dave, because I was thinking of this. Tully fucked up big time. He and Arn both signed 3-year contracts at $250 a year with with WCW. Tully was doing coke and failed his drug test. I think Dave meant WWF. Yeah, and was fired. And I think that was pretty much it for Tully. I mean, what a dumbass. Oh, yeah. I mean, $250,000 in the late '80s, early '90s. That's like $1 million now. So, yeah, and like they weren't wrestling as back in the day when Gino first started. These guys were wrestling 250 to 300 times a year. They weren't wrestling quite as much, maybe close, but man, $250,000. Absolutely. And you literally it went up your nose.
It did, or even you drank it. You never know what kind of stuff you would buy, some kind of alcohol. And that's one thing about Gino. He saw that, and I don't know how he got mixed up, with these real bad people. And I guess they offered him some money to come to Florida. This is a rumor, okay, to pick up a haul of something and bring it back to Dallas. And he did that probably a few times. And of course, they paid him cash and maybe with some other stuff that he was hauling. Yeah. And he got real bad addicted to it.
I agree with Jason's comment. Gino had just as much swagger as Ric Flair. Yeah. I think Gino was a little bit ahead of Ric Flair. Maybe
absolutely.
But I mean, I got to think that Ric Flair probably took some of his gimmick from watching Gino.
I think so. Because the way he walked in the ring, and then you give Gino a mic and it was on. I mean, he was like on it like this. He didn't need any coaching or anything like that. He didn't need to do any takes. It was one take. That's it.
I agree, Jade. Now, do you remember Gary Hart?
Yes, that was the saddest part for Gary Hart was when Gino died. He tried to get Gino straight. He told Gino, "I'll get you the help you need. I'll put you in rehab." And Gino said, "I'm okay, Gary. I'm good. And to that day that Gary had an office at WCCW or anywhere, that's the one portrait that he could not put up. He's got portraits of every wrestler that he's ever managed up on his wall, but Gino's the only one that he could not put up on his wall. It was too hurtful and too painful for him.
A lot of great managers back in the day. I think Gary Hart is very underrated. When they talk about the all-time great managers, Gary Hart to me was one of the best. He really knew wrestling.
He did 100% in and out. Like he was a wrestling book, pretty much. He was an encyclopedia back then for them days. Right. And even though he was a manager for Chris Adams for a little bit, he still kind of told Gino, hey, if you do this, it'd be better. Or if y'all guys team together and did this, then that would be great. And I don't know about the name, the dynamic duo, because he tried it with Tully. Of course, that did not work. And Chris Adams and him actually did make it work. I mean, they skyrocketed. They put,
Well, he
like
did
you
win.
said,
I mean, he did win several tag team championships with Tully,
yes.
and as I think the SWCW.
Yeah.
I guess tag team championship. They did pretty well, but I mean, Southwest was a lot more of a minor league promotion. World Class was definitely a step up.
Oh, absolutely. But with him being a tag team champion with Tully, he should have just been the solo tag team champion because Gino's the one that carried Tully. I'm not gonna hate to say that because it's the truth. And
it's funny that Tully wound up being the bigger star, but only because Gino died. I mean,
and Gino pushed him. I think Gino gave him the push because whenever you were around Gino and Tully, everybody wanted to be around Gino, and it's like, well, Tully thought, okay, well, they're gonna be around Gino. I'll probably get one of the girls. You never know how they thought back then. I don't know how you guys think, but maybe that was the case. They all wanted to be around Gino, and he's like, okay, well, why don't some of y'all go over here with him? And they're like, I guess, probably. But I remember as I was growing up, I remember meeting the Ultimate Warrior. It was WWE at the time, no, WWF. They came to a live event where we actually could see where the wrestlers were coming out of because we used to, see them all the time. Do you know that the Ultimate Warrior actually asked to see my ID to make sure I was 18 years old?
I mean, you had to be 18 to get in the arena?
No, just to be around him, for him to talk to me and flirt with me. So that way, in case something ever happened, that I couldn't say that he was with a minor.
Did you have a fake ID or you had a real one?
No, I had my real ID with me. I always carried it with me. And I was like, yeah, sure, here you go. And I was just shocked that he would ask for IDs, but I can understand why. With everything that was going on with the wrestlers, all these things. And I promised my dad that I would never marry a wrestler, and I kept my promise. I said, but I can still have a crush on one, right?
So that would have been around what, about 1989-ish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? He goes, you're going to give me gray hair early. I said, no, I'm not. I said, don't worry, I'm good. But going back to the WCCW, I remember that it was, they wanted him to have a valet also because they didn't want a guy to hit women. And back at the time, there was a feud with Stella May as one of the females. So they brought in Baby Doll, but back then she was known as Andrea the Giant. She hated that name. She really hated it.
Nicola Roberts was Andrea the Giant?
They called her Andrea the Giant.
Why? I mean, she's not, well, she's a pretty big girl, but not that big.
No, they made her taller, I guess, because she was a little bit taller.
I mean, she wasn't small by any means. No. And I'm not saying heavy. I'm just saying she was a tall girl.
Yeah, she was fit and built, to be a bodyguard, and that's what they wanted. And so she wasn't there with him very long, but the time that she was with him, she said that he was very nice. He was very respectful. He was a gentleman. And she didn't even know that he lived a double life. Back then, Gino was married and had 2 daughters. And
Gino married, if my memory serves me correctly, he married the same woman twice.
Yes.
2 kids. But I think he was divorced by the second time.
Yeah.
By the time he was like 23, 20.
He was
married young, divorced, married young again, divorced.
Yeah. And so I guess, he tried it, but, he loved his daughters very much. I remember one time he was coming to Texas to see Odessa, Texas. It was going to be at an VFW of all places, small little bitty place. And he was supposed to wrestle. And I was like, oh, thank God I get to see him again. But unfortunately, he didn't show up because one of his daughters was sick. So they had to get somebody else to replace him on that one. So, and then, of course, after that, I didn't get to see WCCW that often because it was up in Dallas and we didn't get the cable over there from Dallas. So that was hard. And I would just hear like, okay, how was the match? And they would tell me. And, so I got to see him that way. And knowing that he died was one of the hardest parts that I think stuck to me.
I think, was it maybe, I'm trying to think. So I grew up in New York. Of course, it was WWF for years and years. And then in the mid to late 70s, we got Championship Wrestling from Florida and Georgia Championship Wrestling. And then in the early 80s, we got Southwest for a bit. And then we got World Class. Right. And I started watching World Class, and holy crap. I mean, for a not that big of a promotion, they had a lot of really, really good stars, very talented guys. great storylines, great in-ring action. It's like,
absolutely.
It's funny now, people seem to feel the need to choose between WWE and AEW. Back then, it's like, keep bringing it on. Like, the more the merrier. I'll watch 7 wrestling shows a week. I didn't care. I didn't feel like I needed to choose, but I was very impressed by World Class, and especially Gino and Chris Adams. Chris Adams was the first guy that I ever saw do a super kick.
Yes, that was amazing.
That was back then. That was deadly. I mean, now it's just you see it 50 times a match, but when he did it, it was lights out.
Yeah, and I think, and then Gino's flying elbow too is kind of like how that's the only way that they determined, speaking of going back to the mask, who was who at the time, and the referee be like, get back in there, tag back out. And so that was interesting to watch. And then, of course, as Gino got more famous, of course, they had the feud between him and Chris to where they had to break up. That was they
always do. That's part of the deal.
Yeah, and so, and that's when I think Gino got into more and more of the bad stuff, that getting to know these people. And one of them was John Royale, which I will mention that asshole a lot because he's the one that, pretty much was the main drug person.
Is it
that's
this guy?
him?
Okay.
Yes, that's John Royale. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the man that paid for Gino's funeral. That is him. And see, the way Patrice, his mom, had portrayed, Gino came over, I think it was a few days before Thanksgiving or so. And he had this box, like a shoe box. And he says, Mom, I need to hide something here. And she's like, sure, that's fine. Go ahead. And he pretty much told her where it was going to be in a closet or something. He goes, but do not let, keep this for me. I'll come back and get it. Things like, don't let anybody near it. She goes, okay, son, don't worry. I won't look in it. That's fine. She never did, is what she said. But John Royale actually came to Patrice's house and said that Gino owed him money. And he's like, well, I don't have the money you think that he owes you. I'm not paying you. He's the one that owed it to you. So you're the one that have to collect it from him. And so he's like, well, did he leave something here? She goes, yes, a box. So he ended up with a box. And the thing with that, nobody knows what's in there. And with Gino's death, there was a lot of speculation as well. There was, he would always lock his deadbolt no matter what. If he was coming in or going, he'd always make sure to lock his deadbolt. And he did not smoke at all. He hated to be around people that smoked. He wasn't even around women that smoked. And the day that they found him, they said that he had already been decomposing for 3 or 4 days. And
he was found by, according to my notes, Bill Mercer, who was the world-class announcer, and Rick Hazard, who was the referee, right?
Right.
And they were able to get right into his place because it was
they just pretty much opened the door, and they were like, wait a minute, this is weird. Why is this open? Because he's always locked. But they said that they had reached over and saw from a 2-story window that he was laid on the floor. And I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. How can you get from there to there? There wasn't any room. So that's another thing. And then when they walked in, they saw the sugar bowl full of some white stuff because he kept it right on his coffee table. So they got that. And when they went up, they called his name out. They, he didn't hear him. And so when they went upstairs, that's when they found him with a gun on his left side, but he was right-handed and he was already face down. And to me, he had, I don't know if people knew this, but before he died, he would go to World Class Championship Wrestling before the matches started and go to David Manning's office and said, David, something is happening. Some people are probably following me. There was somebody inside my car in the back seat. I need help. I need a gun. I need protection, something. And David's like, oh, you're just paranoid. He, just blew it off. But I bet you one thing, if that fucker, David Manning, had one of the Von Erichs tell him, oh, David, I think somebody's following me.
A whole squad of security at that point.
Exactly. And that's why I call him a motherfucker, because he is. He had favoritism. And that's like, you know what? Because of you, he might be alive still.
That's kind of dumb on his part because Gino was a huge star.
Exactly.
And it's funny because Gino had to me, like just being Gino Hernandez and being a heel in a territory that when these fans are like very passionate about their
absolutely.
wrestling, They always took it very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you got to worry about a fan hurting you, number one.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're also involved with some bad people that you owe money to. I mean, I don't know how he even slept at night.
Yeah. Well, he was very paranoid from what I hear because Jeannie Williams, who was married to Chris Adams in the beginning.
Lady Blossom, right? Was that
Lady Blossom? Yes.
Okay.
And then she, of course, married Steve Austin.
Stone Cold? Yeah.
Yeah. She was his next door neighbor at the time in Dallas. And, you know, she would go over there to see if he's doing okay, things like that. And one day she said that she came in, he locked the door real quick with the deadbolt. She set the kitchen table and he turned on the kitchen faucet to let the water run. And he was so paranoid looking around the windows, and supposedly he had a gun. I'm not, you know, I don't know. This is her telling the story. And he was paranoid that people were going to come in and get him or people were watching him. And she said at one time he put his hand on her mouth like this so she wouldn't talk. And then she changes her story and saying that he had a gun to her head. So I don't know what to believe with that woman. But
well, a lot of wrestlers. I mean, honesty isn't always a quality with professional wrestlers. Let me flash this up. I don't know anything about this. Maybe you do. From Jason.
Oh, okay.
What was the rumor about Gino being involved with some gay bar? I've never heard that.
He is not gay. Of course, we could testify to that because his wife, of course, his mom. Yeah, he was around the gay community just to get fans. He wasn't gay. So anytime he was around people, he would always bring a woman home. Or two. I'm going to say it, or two.
You know, gay people buy tickets too. I mean,
exactly.
To me, like I'm gonna appeal to as a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back then your job as a wrestler was to sell tickets. I mean, now it's different. You know, they all have guaranteed contracts. Mm-hmm. They all have, you know, WWE has these huge deals with Netflix, you know, in the billions, and Saudi and in the billions or half a billion.
And Japan is another one too.
Yeah. But you know, back in the day, a Gino or a Chris Adams, their job. I mean, you know, when I watched Nikita and I, we always refer to the WWF show we watched in the 70s. It was a 1-hour infomercial, and its sole purpose was to sell tickets to the arenas.
Yeah, you remember the Saturday night main events that they would have on TV every so many Saturdays? That was a fun time to watch because I liked watching. I would love to see what Miss Elizabeth was going to come in dressed in, what pretty dress she was going to have.
You know, it's funny though, Amelia. I mean, the all-time high was, I think it was when Hulk and Andre were on there. It was 33 million people watched that. Now, between WWE and AEW, you might have between 4 and 5 million. So, you know, everybody says Vince McMahon made wrestling a better place. Like, where did all those people go? Vince McMahon made himself rich, and you know, and he did make wrestling more mainstream, where it was more like when I was a kid, it was a no-no to be a wrestling fan. You didn't even tell anybody. You had your friends that were wrestling fans, and you kind of stayed amongst yourselves. Yeah. But you know, Vince McMahon made it. He did make it cool to be a wrestling fan. But I mean, to me. You said you could go every week in Texas. I mean, now you can go once a year. So
absolutely.
Weren't you better off going once a week?
Yeah. We would go and get tickets. We would do either the general admission, or if me and my sister would try to win tickets for the ringside, because the radio stations would do contests for the ringside seats, and we were ready. We were on that phone. And you know what helped us out was that rotary phone. Kids these days don't know what that rotary phone was. So helpful. You would not understand, especially to win tickets.
Yeah. I remember
with the last number.
Yeah. I would go to the Nassau Coliseum, and it was like $5 for ringside. And then at intermission, they would announce the next month's card.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then you could buy the tickets for the next month. So you could walk home with next month. And I mean, you did this month after month, year after year.
Oh,
I mean, you always had your wrestling, where now, I live about, well, you do too. How far do you live from Amalie Arena? 20 minutes?
Well, it's in Tampa, right?
Yeah.
20 minutes-ish?
Yeah, same
like
here.
That.
20 minutes, half hour. I mean, how often are they coming here? Once a year?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Once a year. And Yeah, and to answer Jason's question, yes, Jake Roberts was his tag team partner at one time. And as a matter of fact, he tag teamed with Chris Adams and Gino at one time. And when they interviewed Jake Roberts was wanting to say something, you could tell, but he was holding a lot back. A lot was he holding back when they asked him a question about Gino.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And there was also a lot of speculation because Gino had also said that he had wanted to fake his death at one time.
Like Andy Kaufman.
Yeah. And so we don't know if that was him that died, because the family did not get to see the body before or even after the funeral because they had a closed casket.
Yeah. Yeah, and who knows? It's one of those mysteries we'll probably never know. Jason saying in grade school, all of his kids would talk about watching WWF superstars on Monday mornings at school. See now, Jason, I'm a little bit older than you, obviously, but maybe you're not, obviously, but I am. And so when I was in 7th, 8th grade, when I first discovered wrestling, if you watched wrestling, you were a moron. So I would have like my other 6 or 7 moron friends.
Right.
We congregate at the cafeteria and talk about it. And then when one of the jocks would walk over, the athletes, we'd have to change the subject. Hey, how was that filet of haddock today? Wasn't that good? Like, you had to change the subject real quick because you couldn't get caught talking about wrestling. But yeah, I will give best friends for that. Did
you and your friends ever pretend to be wrestlers and wrestle each other and then say, I'm so and so, I'm gonna wrestle you or anything like that? Or come up with
we had wrestling in school and as a sport, a unit in gym,
right?
And I got disqualified because I lifted some guy up in the Italian backbreaker, and I got
that's the Italian in you, right?
Yeah, of course. He says, no, you can't do that. So I just did. So I got DQ'd. Oh well, it was fun anyway.
Hey, you tried, right?
Yeah. But now it's a different world back then. It's so much different now. Wrestling, you have somebody like Liv Morgan. You'll see her everywhere, and people even who aren't wrestling fans, they know who she is.
And I just, to be honest with you, I didn't know who she was until I started watching the show with you and Joe on Friday mornings, because I stopped watching wrestling a long time ago. It's been more than 10 years that I've actually turned on the TV and watched WWE or AEW, any kind of wrestling, because to me, wrestling isn't wrestling anymore. Why am I going to want to watch a lot of acrobatic stuff when I can go buy tickets to Circus Olay when they come to town?
Except at Cirque du Soleil, Real Coach, tickets would go on sale at MSG Box Office at 9, and we would cut school. It was like like buying tickets to Ozzy Osbourne. You waited in line and you got your tickets.
But my dad would sometimes pick me or my sister up from school early, not tell my mom. We go to this place called Endless Horizons to get the tickets, or we go to the Ector County Coliseum and get the tickets, and he'd take us right back to school.
Right. I mean, getting back to those lady wrestlers, so many of them, and the guys too. But it seems like, the current women's champion Rhea Ripley has a torn meniscus. She's going to be out probably until early next year. So they have a tournament or like a ladder match. Chelsea Green wins. Now she's the interim champion. Now, why back in the day when a champion was injured, and they couldn't defend it, they would make him give up the belt, right? Always.
Exactly. They would have to give it to the next. Yeah.
Right now,
he'd have to wrestle a little bit.
Ripley, they're letting her keep it, and so now you got Chelsea Green, who's the interim champion. Except that on SmackDown, I think it was what are they called? Fatal Influence. They botched the move, and they cracked her orbital bone. So now she's probably going to have to. So now are you going to have like an interim? It's ridiculous. Brie Bella just got her clavicle broken. She's going to be out for months. And it was on the very day that her sister, Nikki, came back with who had a bad ankle. This lady, Stephanie Vaquer, who was the champion, who I liked. She's been injured several times. Liv Morgan. They all. Something's not right where these ladies keep getting hurt like that.
No, I think they have that in their contract that if they get hurt, they still can be champion. If it was me, I would definitely make sure that was in my contract. That no matter what, I still retain the belt, because they probably are used to the money that they get with the belt. So I think that has a lot of weight with it too.
Well, Brittany and Dave, if you are still here, because you are the professional wrestlers in the chat, and why are these ladies getting injured with such frequency? To me, it's a combination of several different things. When Brittany wrestled, you wrestled several times a week. These guys maybe wrestle 30 to 50 times a year. So, it's lack of repetition. And I think the biggest thing is, people, meaning us, the wrestling fans, we demand more and more to be entertained. Yes. And I think these high spots have gotten so ridiculous that, in the pursuit of entertaining us,
yes,
they're killing themselves.
Yeah. Just like I remember when I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Jim Crockett was a promoter.
That was a great. That was Jim Cornette on Smoky Mountain. That was a great promotion.
I loved it.
Didn't last too long, but very, very realistic. Jim Cornette, whether you like him or not, the man knows wrestling.
He knew how to put the people on the seats, and the tickets were still good price. I mean, there was 5 of us back then. So imagine 2 adults and then us kids going to a wrestling match. Now, how much it would cost?
Oh, it's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
You got to take out a second mortgage just to go see WrestleMania.
Yeah.
This is a great question here from Lawrence again. Who from later generations is the closest comparison to Gino?
Well, let's see. Thinking about, I would say, even though he did a sidekick as well, I would say Shawn Michaels was good.
Yes, maybe he would be the Americanized version of Gino.
Yeah.
I tell you who, I don't know if you remember him, who I really liked. He was also Hispanic, and he was also managed by Gary Hart, was Al Perez.
Yes, he used to be at Southwest Championship Wrestling. That's where I saw him.
Al Perez, great talent. He was in Florida, in the Crockett, I believe he was.
Yeah.
And he was managed by Gary Hart, and he was going to wrestle Ric Flair here in St. Pete. And this is according to Gary Hart, for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And he was told, Al was told that he could lose everywhere. He would lose everywhere. Yeah. He said, I'll lose everywhere, but not in my hometown.
Right, not in his hometown.
I want to do because Al's from Tampa. I want to do a Broadway. And they were told, no, Rick's going to give you the figure 4. And Al said, no, that ain't happening. I'm going to shoot on Flair. And I mean, legitimately, probably Al could have beat Flair, I think.
Yeah.
And this got back to Kevin Sullivan, who was the booker. And then it got back to, and then Gary Hart confronted Perez. And he said, yeah. And they fired him right on the spot. So, and then same thing in WWF. He was there for a little bit. And he looked great. Started to get over, and before you knew it, he was gone.
Just like that. I mean, you got to be very careful how you present yourself too, because when think of an eye and you're gone. I mean, you could be the top of the mountain, and then all of a sudden you're done. Yeah.
See, Al had this. Al was a very, very underrated talent.
Yeah.
I think if another guy that no drugs. I mean. I think after wrestling, I think he's worked for UPS for the last 40 years, Al Perez. Very grounded guy. I've seen a couple of his interviews. And, but he just, I think, one of the things about wrestling is you're not the boss. You're a small cog in the whole machine. You're not the machine. And, your cog can always be replaced. There's very few people in wrestling absolutely irreplaceable.
Yeah, I remember back in the day too. I don't know if you ever heard of him, Bobby Fulton.
Yeah, of course.
He was a great wrestler. I met him when he first started, ever, and that was his Southwest Championship Wrestling. Jose Lothario, I think, was his mentor.
Just like Shawn Michaels, right?
Yeah, and he loved it because he got to start. He loved everybody. He loved to meet everybody, and he was so good with the fans too that he was a baby face, but he really wanted to be a heel. But they're like, no, you're too cute not to be a baby face.
Good one, Jason. Rick Martel as the model was pretty close to Gino. I tell you what, I when I saw that Rick Martel had turned on Tito, I'm thinking, look, there is no way this is going to work. There is no way that Rick Martel could be a heel. And man, oh man, did he prove me wrong. That model, that with the arrogance, with his sprayer, that was one of the best heel gimmicks of all time. I love that. That was great.
Yeah, women love to hate him, and so did the men.
Nicest guy in the entire world, Rick Martel. But he said Tito wanted to turn heel. They wouldn't let him. But they said Rick could turn heel, and man, he made money out of that.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that, Tito also was really good with that too, being the baby face, and everybody's going to feel sorry for him. And everybody let's cheer for him and let's boo the other guy. And everybody got both popular at the same time. And I think that Gino, he never wanted to be a baby face like he was in the beginning. He's like, no, I want to be the heel because that's where the money is. And that's his persona.
He was wise ahead of his years. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the difference between like a Rick Martel and an Al Perez is that was solely their character. Where Gino's like Ric Flair. I mean, Ric Flair is Richard Morgan Fleer is his real name, but there's no such thing as Richard Morgan Fleer anymore. He died a long time ago. All you see now is Ric Flair. Gino, same thing. Was it Charles Wolfe Jr.?
Charles Wolfe Jr. And there was
Charles
no
Wolfe
such thing.
Jr. died like at age 19.
Yeah.
All you saw was Gino Hernandez in and out.
Gino Hernandez, And my thing to let people know, if you're a promoter and your wrestler comes to you, female or male, and they say that they're in trouble, they feel like somebody's following them, they feel like somebody's watching them, please pay attention and please do what you can to keep them safe, because we don't want this to happen to them, what happened to Gino. And, Baby Doll even said that she feels he was murdered. I feel he was murdered because either he owed people money or this is what's going to happen to you, because you owe me money.
There's no doubt that the man was murdered because, number one, you got the cigarettes, you got the door unlocked. I don't know what the gun was. Like, well, that was just planted there, I'm sure.
And he's right-handed. And they found it on his left-hand side.
Right. They didn't think, and the large amount of cocaine that was found in his stomach, but none in his nose.
No, not at all up here. Yeah, nothing at all.
What are you going to do? You're going to swallow it? I mean, it probably was forced down his throat.
I think it was forced down, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but there's in retrospect, I really think, given his situation, the best thing he could have did was maybe move on to one of the other territories.
Absolutely.
Go up to Portland, Oregon. Go to,
go back up to Detroit.
You
started.
Detroit was still around. It was kind of floundering, but I mean, Memphis was hot as hell. It was Lawler and Bill Dundee. Man, he would have fit right in there.
Perfect.
Florida was still going strong. You could have went there with Dusty Rhodes, Kevin Sullivan. Georgia was a lot of great territory still around.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he stayed too close to home and it wound up biting him in the ass, unfortunately.
It did, unfortunately. And that's why I always tell people, please watch your surroundings. Please tell people what's going on. And if you hear somebody that wants to fake their death, that's when you really want to pay attention.
Yeah. When somebody starts talking, I mean, and I'm a retired accountant, not a psychologist, but, I've been around this earth a long time. And, if somebody's saying something to you, listen to what they're saying and really, really listen, because they might be telling you something. They might be, like silently or, implicitly trying to tell you something that they need help. And, if they wind up dead a week later, you don't want to be the one that says, you know what, they were trying to reach out to me and I didn't listen to them. You don't want to be that person.
Exactly. No, because you'll have fans later on like me that'll tell you that you call you a motherfucker, which of course I will. I'll tell it to your face. Right. So you want to mess with me? Come on, let's go. Yeah. I'll tell you to your face.
Yeah. Amelia, we're right about an hour here, but I want to, in my opinion, I always say there's the two biggest what ifs in professional wrestling. And one was, of course, Magnum TA, Terry Allen. Had he not wrecked that car, he would have been like maybe an 8 or 9 time world champion. Him and Flair would have, but the other guy is Gino. And if both Magnum and Gino had been like around, can you imagine the three between him, Gino, Flair, and Magnum. They would have been trading that NWA title off. You know, they would have got, I think every one of them would have got sucked into the WWF eventually.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, Gino could have minted money. He could have printed money.
And Ric Flair wouldn't be the 16-time world champion. I think Gino would take him run for his money. No, but I want to thank you so much for letting me do this episode. I want to thank all.
I didn't let you do anything. It's free country. You do whatever you want.
Well, to help me with this episode.
Well, if you and I ever wrestle, it's not going to be hair versus hair. You could put up your hair. I'm not putting my hair up. I'll put up a kidney. But yeah, we'll do like hair versus.
I'll put my
kidney.
Glasses. How's that?
Glasses versus kidney, right? Yeah. Fair enough. Right. But yeah, and before we go, we're going to leave everybody with a very obviously Amelia is very, very fond of Gino, no secret. And for good reason. I mean, she grew up with the guy. I mean, it's like me with Bruno. I mean, you grew up and literally, I mean, I didn't just I almost it was on the border of worshiping Bruno because he was that big of a figure in my life at a very young age. And, that was it for Gino with Amelia. So, and he had that kind of magnetism.
Absolutely.
A young girl. And this guy is like, a really good looking guy with, I mean, and a lot of guys are good looking, but not only was he good looking.
Oh, my co-host included. So there you go.
Yeah. But I mean, he was, he had the charisma.
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of guys are handsome, but like they got the personality of dry paint. Yeah. This guy had it all. I mean, he
drove people crazy and insane.
Yeah, he had the. I mean, he knew the ring psychology. He grew up around arenas with his dad. He would literally go backstage when he was like 12, 13 years old and hang out with these wrestlers. I mean, you don't think he was soaking this all in? I mean, I think
absolutely.
From a very young age.
He probably said, I'm going to be this one day. I'm going to be here one day. And I want to thank you so much, everybody. This is watched, that listened, and everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. For everything. Thank you, Jason, for hanging out with us.
Everyone.
Friday night. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny, these wrestlers, there's so many different personalities that, and so many different topics. And the great thing about being a wrestling fan is like, you could go for years and never talk about the same thing twice.
Right. And I think that our next, we're not going to do a show like every week or every other week. I think our next show will probably be sometime in late September. I'm hoping to have Aleister Cross, a horror author, come on the show to tell us about his 7th book and a series of.
Oh, you said horror. I mean, my mind's in the gutter. I think you said horror. Like
horror,
right? Horror. Okay.
Yeah, horror author. And he is like, he's already got like 7 books. One's about to come out in September. So we'll be talking to him about that.
Oh, yeah. Maybe by then I can push my book.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Please tell people what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I have a kid's book that I'm trying to get published, but my problem right now is finding a reputable publisher. Somebody contacted me and they gave me a very low price. And, you got to be really, these days, it's buyer beware.
You have to be very
You got to be really careful. And I went on their Facebook page and they had a phone number. They said they were in, where'd they say they were? I think maybe it was even Texas. But
I think somewhere in Texas or up in New York or something like that. And yes, Jason, I have a hard time saying
their phone number was New Jersey or somewhere else. And then they had another phone number and they had like the country code of 44.
Oh, no, you don't want that one.
Is the UK. So like you got, like, where are you guys really? So, they offer me a ridiculously low price, but I mean,
oh, absolutely.
I would rather wait and find a reputable company. I don't expect to make a lot of money with my kids' book, although I feel very confident that anybody who gets it and they read it to their small child, I guarantee you they will like it.
And this is the last one that he did. It's Aleister Cross. It's a horror. I have a hard time saying that word. Sorry, guys. Yeah. But this is the 6th book.
I won't write any horror or horror books for confusion.
Unless you want to, right? But
see, and there's my friend Mrs. P, Barbara Parmigiano. She's looking. Mrs. P, you're getting a free autographed copy. You're getting one of the first ones.
Oh, thank you. She'll be one of the 10.
I'm gonna buy a mess of them and I'm gonna send them out to people that have always stuck by me.
Well, guess what? I already have about 3 of them sold where I work for you.
Well, then
Just ready to publish them. Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so I'll give you a kickback on those books, and then I'll give you a free one.
Oh.
All right, guys. Well, like Amelia said, once we get this gentleman, his book comes out, we'll push that. And you never know. Somebody might, just fall into our laps that, is a great interview, and you might see us a little bit sooner.
And also, if anybody knows of a good publisher that you could turn Benny on to, please do so.
Right. Or whores. No, I'm only kidding. But anyway,
I'll be in charge of that one. Okay?
All right. You can be my agent. All right, guys, we're going to leave you with this fantastic song. Want you to enjoy it, and we will see you guys soon. Have a great evening.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Here we go.
When I was young, I came there to cheer you. When oh so many came there just to jeer you. The booze were to you like bees were to honey, 'cause you knew that the booze were making you money. From the very first moment you stepped in the ring, we all knew it was true. You're the next big thing. You were the guy that they all love to hate, and you knew that the boom meant box office gate.